Okay. So let's see what we have done and let's move forward. So break-even point and cost volume profit analysis is what we started in the previous session. And we have seen CVP analysis shows the relationship of revenue, cost, volume changes, taxes, profits. We have seen all the basics in the previous class. We have seen what is the like how you get contribution, everything. Today we are just about to focus on our problems and questions. It applies to manufacturers because all these guys are involved in business activities and they want to generate revenue. They have to incur costs, they have to do the production, so volume changes, they have to pay taxes to government, and they do all things for profits. So variable costing and CVP separates costs into fixed and variable components. So variable costing is nothing but it is splitting the cost into two, fixed and variable. Shows fixed cost in lump sum amounts. I have already done all this. Okay, you can see the slide. So we are now going to see how to compute the break even point. Okay, and we have already seen what is break even point. Okay, so let me show you three equations which I'll write personally, and then I will also go ahead with our classes with our class. And today we'll see a lot of problems, lot of questions we'll do practically and understand the concept. So just a second. So there we are. Now break even analysis. So the formulas are sales. These are the equations. Okay. So sales minus variable cost is contribution. Already you know. That is equal to fixed cost minus loss. This is something where you are in loss zone when I speak about loss. Again, sales minus variable cost is equal to contribution is equal to fixed cost. That is, you are in break even point. That means when your contribution is equal to fixed cost, and contribution is what? Sales minus variable cost. So when you are sales minus variable cost gives you contribution, and that contribution is equal to fixed cost, you are at break even point. We have already checked this situation and scenario in the previous session. So if I get contribution of 1 lakh and if my fixed cost is even at 1 lakh, then definitely I am at no profit, no loss. It is break even point because 1 lakh minus 1 lakh is 0, and 0 is what? No profit, no loss. And if I speak about something, my contribution is 1 lakh and my fixed cost is like somewhere around 1,20,000. Okay, so I'm in losses. So 20,000 is a loss amount for me. So what will happen? See, contribution. Suppose sales 1 lakh. Okay. So contribution is 1 lakh and fixed cost is 1 lakh. Minus loss is suppose 20,000. So this fixed cost is actually a negative figure. You should understand this fact. Okay. So this cost and fixed cost are negative figures, boss. So this is 1,20,000. So your cost is more than your contribution. Your cost is more than your contribution. So you are in losses. And then sales minus variable cost is equal to contribution is equal to fixed cost plus profit. It is, you are in profit zone. Okay. 1 lakh is your contribution. Fixed cost is 1 lakh. And this profit, this is always a negative figure. Okay. And this is your profit 20,000, always a positive figure. So resultant figure is 80,000. And here you have 1 lakh. So what do you say? Your contribution is more than your this resultant figure or not? Yes. So you are in profits. Okay. So that is what we have discussed. This is a cost. So it is 80,000. Okay. Minus 80,000. It's a negative figure actually. So when your contribution is more and your cost is less, at the end of the day, you will definitely subtract your fixed cost from your contribution to see how much profits you've got. So this is what is the solution. So if your contribution is more than your fixed cost, you are in profits. If your contribution is less than fixed cost, you are at loss. So I'll write those points here at the end. So again, this 3 equations and some concluding points. Sales minus variable cost is equal to contribution is equal to fixed cost minus loss zone. Sales minus variable cost is equal to contribution is equal to fixed cost, break even point. Sales minus variable cost is equal to contribution is equal to fixed cost plus profit zone. And one more thing I would like to say, when your contribution is equal to fixed cost, you are at break even point. When your contribution is more than fixed cost, you are at profits. When your contribution is less than fixed cost, you are at loss. Okay, that's what. So अगर ये मेरा 1 lakh रहेगा, ये मेरा like 1,20,000 रहेगा, my cost is more than what I have got the contribution. So my contribution is not sufficient to absorb this cost, or it is not sufficient enough to just overcome my fixed cost or to just manage my fixed cost. Okay. So when 1 lakh is 1 lakh, no problem, no profit, no loss. And if it is like my contribution is more than my fixed cost, then I can easily manage them. So I am in profits. Okay. Chalo, let's go ahead now with the slides. Now the question arises how to find out the break even point in units. So I will tell you the formula. So already you know the concept of break even point, hai na? When there is no profit, no loss. So break even point in units, if you want to find out, the formula is fixed cost by contribution. So fixed cost is always in lump sum. It is always in full, not in per unit wise. Okay. But sales and variable cost can come in per unit wise, per unit by per unit. So we are finding out how many units the company has to produce to just get their break even. यानी वो कितने यूनिट्स आप प्रोड्यूस करोगे जिससे आपको ब्रेक इवन पॉइंट अचीव होगा, यानी वो कितने यूनिट्स हैं जिसमें आपको प्रॉफिट भी नहीं होगा, लॉस भी नहीं होगा, यानी आप एग्जैक्टली ब्रेक इवन कर जाओगे. प्रॉफिट नहीं होना तो ठीक है, लॉस तो कभी नहीं होना चाहिए, एटलीस्ट आप अपना कॉस्ट को रिकवर कर. ब्रेक इवन पॉइंट इज नथिंग बट अगर आप एक $1 lakh का इन्वेस्टमेंट करते हो, इफ यू आर डूइंग अ $1 lakh इन्वेस्टमेंट, एटलीस्ट 1 lakh यू शुड रिकवर, देन आई कैन से यू आर एट ब्रेक इवन पॉइंट. ठीक है ना? सो हम जितना खर्च किया उतना रिकवर कर लेंगे तो वो ब्रेक इवन पॉइंट होगा. दैट इज व्हाट वी आर सीइंग हियर इन टर्म्स ऑफ यूनिट्स. तो सपोज मेरा 10,000 फिक्स कॉस्ट है एंड सेलिंग प्राइस पर यूनिट मेरा $10 है, वेरिएबल कॉस्ट $5 है. सो 10,000 by 5 2000 यूनिट्स, तो इतना अगर मैं 2000 यूनिट्स प्रोड्यूस कर लूंगा, इफ आई प्रोड्यूस दिस मच, I would achieve the break even point. यानी इतने यूनिट्स पे मुझे ब्रेक इवन हो जाएगा. दिस इज इन टर्म्स ऑफ यूनिट्स. नाउ समवन आस्क यू अ क्वेश्चन, ब्रेक इवन पॉइंट इन सेल्स इन डॉलर टर्म्स में बताओ, इन टर्म्स ऑफ डॉलर्स और रुपीस. नथिंग बट ब्रेक इवन पॉइंट इन यूनिट्स ले लो इनटू सेलिंग प्राइस पर यूनिट. तो $20,000 वो अमाउंट है जिसपे आपको एग्जैक्टली ब्रेक इवन पॉइंट अचीव हो जाएगा. यानी $20,000 पे आपको प्रॉफिट भी नहीं होगा, लॉस भी नहीं होगा. एग्जैक्टली आप जितना खर्च किया उतना रिकवर कर लोगे. ओके, चलिए. So compute the break-even point and then study the interrelationship between price, volume, fixed and variable cost, contribution margins and profits. Calculate the level of sales necessary to achieve a target profit. See, it is not that you will be doing a business without targets. Am I right? So every business sets up some targets, or I can say desired profits. Target is nothing but something which you are desiring, what you want. तो आप एक टारगेट सेट करते हो. तो नाउ द क्वेश्चन अराइजेस, हाउ मेनी यूनिट्स, सो देयर आर फॉर्मुलास फॉर दीज आल्सो, हाउ मेनी यूनिट्स you should produce or make to achieve the desired profit what you have desired. And then second comes how many units you should sell to achieve the desired profit. Okay, so we are going to see those also with the help of formulas and we'll justify that, don't worry. Now, so calculate the level of sales necessary to achieve a target profit. Is that the second statement what I wrote here in my WordPad? How many units you should sell to achieve the target or desired profits? Yes. Set sales price and answer what if questions to influence current operations and predict future operations. What if is nothing but you're asking a question to yourself. What if अगर ऐसा नहीं होगा? What if अगर ऐसा होगा तो? Okay. So every concept comes with some assumptions. Okay. No concept is created without any assumption. Just a second. So in the same way, CVP analysis is not a exception to this. Your cost, volume and profit analysis is also based upon certain assumptions which you are going to see right now. Company is operating within the relevant range. Yes, company should not go beyond its range, beyond its reach. Revenue per unit remains constant. Like per unit, whatever the revenue you are charging should be constant. Variable cost per unit should remain constant and fixed cost should always remain constant, total fixed cost. Okay. So for different levels, it is a different matter. But if you are looking for one particular level of activity, then these all should be constant. And mixed costs are separated into variable and fixed elements. I have yesterday given the example to you about the mixed cost. Mixed cost is nothing but semi-variable cost. It's a combination of variable as well as fixed cost. Now these are the important questions, boss. Break-even point is total revenue is equal to total cost. Total revenue minus total cost is zero profit. Contribution margin is nothing but sales minus variable cost. Okay, this is per unit if it is in per unit wise. And revenue minus total variable cost is contribution margin in total. And if you want to see, this is what I'm saying you. Contribution is nothing but sales minus variable cost. If I see in terms of per unit, if these are in terms of per unit, if I speak about revenue, revenue is nothing but the total figure of sales minus the total variable cost will give me contribution margin in total. Okay, and if someone asks you what is the formula for contribution margin, so contribution margin we also say as PV ratio, profit volume ratio. Okay, I'm writing here. contribution margin ratio. See, you try to recall your ratio analysis concepts. Okay. In that you used to find out net profit ratio is what? Net profit by net sales into 100. So you used to compare all your profitability with sales. Am I right? So here also you're not doing something different. You are just dividing your contribution with sales. So contribution margin ratio or PV ratio, that is also called as profit volume ratio. In some books they'll use this term. So it's nothing but contribution by sales into 100. What is that? Contribution. Okay. So contribution can be also written as, already you know the equations, sales minus variable cost by sales into 100. Okay, because you know the equation, sales minus variable cost is contribution. Okay, this is this is PV ratios formula. Okay, now next point. Now let's find out the break-even formula we are going to see. So I already told you what is the formula for break-even point. Fixed cost by contribution, and fixed cost is always in total terms. Contribution here would be in terms of units. So selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit, and this is the break-even point. The data is given to you down. Fixed cost is this, and selling price per unit is this, and variable cost per unit is this. So your break-even point is 12,500 units. This is what is nothing but, see, fixed cost by contribution also I can write there. I think I've already written there. Yeah. Okay. So in my example, I told 2000 units. So here they are saying 12,500. So this is the number of units at which you'll break even. You'll be having no profit, no loss. That means your revenue will be equal to cost. Your revenue will be equal to cost. And this we can convert into sales even. How? There are two formulas. So this 1,50,000 they've got. Now I'll do this for you. You remember I told you the formula, na? What is your selling price per unit? 12. So what you got in the previous case? You got 12,500. So now 12,500 into 12 is what? Just calculate. Just calculate. Okay. So it is like 1,50,000. So I'll write some formulas here. Even one more formula we can use. So I've explained you break-even point in sales as this one. So what did I write here? So I wrote it like break-even point in units into selling price per unit. Or you can do one thing, fixed cost by PV ratio will also give you the formula for break-even point in sales or dollars. So this formula, one more formula I'm writing. Fixed cost by profit volume ratio or contribution ratio. Write down fixed cost by contribution ratio. Contribution margin ratio. Okay. One and the same, we'll prove it. So your fixed cost is what? As per the question, it's like 1 lakh. Okay. So we'll write 1 lakh here. Divided by PV ratio. Contribution margin ratio is nothing but contribution by sales. So contribution is nothing but sales minus variable cost. So what is your sales minus variable cost? 12 minus 4. Contribution by sales. Okay. So contribution margin ratio is nothing but, I'm writing here, contribution by sales or sales minus variable cost by sales. 12 minus 4 by 12. Okay. Okay. Okay, and then what happens, like this particular thing will go up. Just a second. Yeah. Yeah. So 1 lakh into 12 by 12 minus 4 is how much? 8. Okay. So 1 lakh into 12 by 8. So just cancel it out. 4 threes are 4 twos are. So it will be 1.5. 1.5 into 1 lakh is 1,50,000. Okay. Got it. Now let's move forward. So this is the income statement proof. So sales was 1,50,000. Variable cost was 50. Contribution margin is this much. This one you got with 12,500 units. Okay. That was your 12,500 was your break-even point in units. Into 12 is your selling price. You got this break-even point in sales. Because the profit you will be getting a 0 only when I'm speaking about break-even point. So this is the income statement proof. In case of income statement proof, what we are trying to prove here is your break-even point is exactly that point at which your total revenue will be equal to total cost, or no profit, no loss. That means zero. Zero is not negative, not positive. Okay. So break-even point was this much. Break-even point in units, this was. I'm converting that into sales, multiplying with the selling price per unit. Break-even point in units was this much. I'm converting that into variable cost into variable cost per unit. I got this. So now contribution and my fixed cost is this much. So break profit before tax is 0 because it is, I'm speaking about break-even point. Now using CVP analysis to find out the target profits. Okay, chalo, let's see. So what's the formula? What's the formula for this? So formula is nothing but if you want to find out your desired profit. So the question is given. So if you want to find out your desired profit, okay, that desired profit is what you have fixed it to the tune of $30,000. To the tune of $30,000. Okay. So they are asking you what would be the required sales. Okay, what would be this? So my question comes here. Just a second. We'll see the textbook. In that they have given something. So number of units required for desired profit, or sales required for desired profit. Okay. Or like what will be the sales if you desire a profit of 30,000. So let's see the question. Setting a target profit, enter before tax profit in numerator. So this is before tax profit we are speaking about. So if the fixed cost is 1 lakh, unit sales is 12, variable cost is 4, that is sales minus variable cost is contribution. Contribution by sales is nothing but contribution margin ratio or PV ratio. And desired profit before taxes is the required sales are this much. So I have given some statement to you. So listen to the statement and we will prove this question accordingly. This was in terms of units. You can do this in form of sales also. So see, sales required for a desired profit. So in this question, we will see how much revenue we should generate to get a desired profit of $30,000. यानी मैं कितना रेवेन्यू जनरेट करना जिससे मेरे को डिजायर्ड प्रॉफिट आ जाए. मैं कितना रेवेन्यू जनरेट करना या कितने का सेल्स हो जाना मेरा, यानी मैं यूनिट्स के टर्म्स में नहीं बोल रहा हूं. आई एम सेइंग इन टर्म्स ऑफ डॉलर्स. यानी मैं कितने डॉलर्स का सेल्स करे तो मेरे को डिजायर्ड प्रॉफिट जो मैं एक्सपेक्ट कर रहा हूं वो आ जाए, तो उसका फॉर्मूला है फिक्स्ड कॉस्ट प्लस डिजायर्ड प्रॉफिट डिवाइडेड बाय प्रॉफिट वॉल्यूम रेशियो. व्हाई आई एम टेकिंग प्रॉफिट वॉल्यूम रेशियो और कंट्रीब्यूशन मार्जिन रेशियो? Because I want to find out the sales value in terms of dollars. Okay, and this will give me the answer for that. How? So fixed cost is how much in the question? 1 lakh. Desired profit is 30,000. Sales minus variable cost divide by sales, that is divide by 12. नहीं तो ये इधर पे भी जाके मल्टीप्लाई कर सकते हो. 1,30,000 into 12 by 8. Now you find out it will be $1,95,000. So if I generate a revenue of $1,95,000 given with all these conditions, I can get this desired profit of $30,000. Okay, that is the conclusion. यानी इतना सेल्स में करना जिससे मुझे ये प्रॉफिट आ जाए. चलो नेक्स्ट पॉइंट. Now next situation. Setting a target profit. How will you set a target profit? Let's see. So this is the formula. If you want before tax profit, the formula is after tax profit by 1 minus tax rate. So your after tax profit is what? This much. By 1 minus tax rate. Tax rate is this much. So can I get the before tax profit? Yes. So at a 20% tax rate, and after tax profit of this much equals to before tax profit of this much. Simple boss. 60,000 is your before tax profit. उसका 20% लो कितना होता? 12,000. 60,000 minus 12,000 is 48,000. Yes, I'll do it for you. Don't worry. This is same like future value, present value. देखो मैं आपको बताता हूं. सपोज यही क्वेश्चन को सिंपल वे में समझो. आपका जो लाइक बिफोर टैक्स प्रॉफिट है 60. देखो आपका आफ्टर टैक्स प्रॉफिट जो भी है वो है 48,000. ठीक है ना, आफ्टर टैक्स प्रॉफिट. कोई आपको क्वेश्चन पूछेगा कि आफ्टर टैक्स आपका प्रॉफिट इतना आ रहा है और टैक्स रेट आपका 40% है. 40 है नहीं, 20% है. Someone will say you कि आपका टैक्स रेट है 20% एंड आपका लाइक आफ्टर टैक्स प्रॉफिट ये है, तो बिफोर टैक्स प्रॉफिट क्या होगा? सपोज बिफोर टैक्स प्रॉफिट के लिए सोचो यार, अगर मैं 60,000 के ऊपर 20% कैलकुलेट करने से मेरे को 12,000 आएगा. 60,000 minus this tax amount, if I deduct, I get 48,000. So can I say this is profit before tax? This is tax. And this is profit after tax. Yes, I can say. This was given to me in the question. हम इसको ऐसे भी कर सकते हैं. लाइक अगर 60,000 में से मैं 1 माइनस 0.20 निकाल दूं तो मुझे क्या आएगा? 60,000 इंटू 0.80, 48,000 आएगा. वही अगर 48,000 को मैं डिवाइडेड बाई 1 माइनस 0.20 करूं, which is what he has done here. Okay, सोचो अभी ये देखो मल्टीप्लाई किए तो ये आ गया, इसको लाके यहाँ डिवाइड कर दो, you will get 60,000. That's what 1 minus tax rate. Okay, so the formula came out here is PAT by 1 minus tax rate is equal to PBT, और PBT into 1 minus tax rate is PAT. ये सब कुछ समझाने का जरूरत नहीं है, ये सब आप लोग को समझ में आना चाहिए पहले से. Let's go ahead. Now CVP analysis, setting a target profit, convert before tax after tax profit to before tax profit. ये आप लोग कर लो यार. Enter before tax profit and you can see the desired sales. This much if you sell, you will get a before tax profit of this much. अगर आपको ये बिफोर टैक्स प्रॉफिट चाहिए तो आप कितना सेल्स करना, यानी नाउ दिस इज योर डिजायर्ड प्रॉफिट, टारगेट प्रॉफिट. सो योर टारगेट प्रॉफिट इज 60,000, that is before tax. So how much revenue you should generate, or what is that required sales you should make to get this desired or target profit. वो क्या सेल्स का फिगर है, या आप कितना सेल्स करना जिससे आपको ये डिजायर्ड प्रॉफिट आ जाए, तो वो सेल्स इतना करना है आपको. उसका फॉर्मूला है फिक्स कॉस्ट प्लस बिफोर टैक्स प्रॉफिट डिवाइड बाय कंट्रीब्यूशन मार्जिन रेशियो. लेट्स मूव फॉरवर्ड. Let's see the income statement proof. See, we are speaking about desired profits now. Now let us see whether we are getting that desired profit or not. So we discuss right now कि कितना हमको सेल्स जनरेट करना है जिससे हमको इतना बिफोर टैक्स प्रॉफिट्स आ जाए. एंड वी हैव ऑलरेडी फाउंड आउट कि वो सेल्स या रेवेन्यू फिगर है 2,40,000. तो 2,40,000 आ गया हमको. तो अगर मैं आपको यही क्वेश्चन पूछूं कि नंबर ऑफ यूनिट्स कितना बेचना जिससे मुझे ये डिजायर्ड प्रॉफिट्स आ जाए, तो अभी जैसे मैं आपको एक चीज बताता हूं, प्लीज सुनो. आई हैव फाउंड आउट द रिक्वायर्ड सेल्स फिगर, दैट इज 2,40,000. इतना मैं बेचूंगा ना, यानी इतने का रेवेन्यू में जनरेट करूंगा ना, इतने का रेवेन्यू जनरेट करूंगा तो मुझे बिफोर टैक्स प्रॉफिट 60,000 का आ जाएगा. उसमें से टैक्स निकाल दो, आफ्टर टैक्स प्रॉफिट 48,000 का आ जाएगा. लेकिन अगर कोई क्वेश्चन पूछे आपको व्हाट इज द नंबर ऑफ यूनिट्स यू शुड सेल टू जनरेट योर डिजायर्ड प्रॉफिट्स, तो कुछ मत करना. लाइक डिजायर्ड मतलब जो भी आपका सेल्स का फिगर आएगा डॉलर्स में, उसको डिवाइड कर दो पर यूनिट सेलिंग प्राइस से. करके देखो 20,000 आ जाएगा आपको. ठीक है, 20,000 यूनिट्स. So these are the number of units which the company should sell to get the desired profit of this much, or desired profit after tax of this much, and desired profit before tax of this much. अगर कोई पूछे कि कितना सेल्स करना है यानी डॉलर के टर्म्स में, तो ऑलरेडी वी हैव सीन द फॉर्मूला. अच्छा, वो फॉर्मूला क्या था अपना? फिक्स कॉस्ट प्लस डिजायर्ड प्रॉफिट डिवाइडेड बाय कंट्रीब्यूशन मार्जिन रेशियो. कैसे आया? फिक्स कॉस्ट आपका 1 लाख था, डिजायर्ड प्रॉफिट्स आपका कितना था प्रॉब्लम में? द टारगेट प्रॉफिट वाज 48,000 ना. $30,000. No, this was a different question, I think. Yeah. So this is what it was done. 2,40,000. So अभी हमको यूनिट्स में चाहिए. So 1 lakh was your fixed cost, 60,000 was your desired profit. Okay, 60,000. So what am I trying to find out? Number of units divided by, I will not take contribution margin ratio. I'll just take contribution per unit. That is sales minus variable cost. Contribution per unit. So 1,60,000 divided by 12 minus 4. 1,60,000 divided by 8. 20,000 units. Okay. So if someone tells you what is the number of units the company should sell to get a desired profit of 60,000, so those number of units are nothing but 20,000 units. And how you got this? The formula is fixed cost plus desired profit by contribution per unit, or fixed cost plus desired profit by sales minus variable cost per unit. Okay, fine. सो यू हैव गॉट एवरीथिंग राइट नाउ. कितना यूनिट्स बेचना है वो भी मालूम हो गया, कितना लाइक सेल्स इन डॉलर टर्म्स करना है वो भी मालूम हो गया. एंड दिस इज द प्रूफ. इतना आपने डिजायर्ड सेल से आपका वेरिएबल कॉस्ट निकाल दिए आप. नंबर ऑफ यूनिट्स आर दिस मच इनटू सेलिंग प्राइस, number of units into variable cost, you got the contribution, you remove the fixed cost, you got the desired profit before tax, you just remove the taxes and you got the desired profit after tax. So whatever I have explained right now uska formula bhi de rahe hain wo log. Just see this. कितना बेचना आप, कितना यूनिट्स बेचना जिससे आपको डिजायर्ड प्रॉफिट आ जाए. फिक्स कॉस्ट बाय कंट्रीब्यूशन मार्जिन पर यूनिट माइनस प्रॉफिट बिफोर टैक्स. दिस इज प्रॉफिट पर यूनिट, यानी पर यूनिट प्रॉफिट आपको फाइंड करना है. करेंगे हम लोग अभी, डोंट वरी. तो पर यूनिट प्रॉफिट के लिए क्या करना है आपको. सपोज मेरा फिक्स कॉस्ट है 1 लाख, कंट्रीब्यूशन मार्जिन पर यूनिट है मेरा सेल्स माइनस वेरिएबल कॉस्ट. दैट इज व्हाट 12 माइनस 4 8 माइनस प्रॉफिट बिफोर टैक्स पर यूनिट. वो कैसे फाइंड करेंगे. ये जो 48,000 मुझे जो प्रॉफिट बिफोर टैक्स आया ना, डिवाइडेड बाय 20,000 कर लो, नंबर ऑफ यूनिट्स कितना होगा. 48,000 by 20,000 कितना होगा. यू विल गेट पर यूनिट प्रॉफिट. डू दैट. $2.4 आएगा. ओके, सो नाउ लेट्स कैलकुलेट. फिक्स कॉस्ट वाज 1 lakh. Contribution margin per unit is like 8 minus 2.4, 5.6. Just a second. Sales volume, total fixed cost, contribution margin per unit, profit per unit before tax, set profit per unit. Okay. Now ये छोड़ दो, इसका एक क्वेश्चन आएगा जब मैं आपको एक्सप्लेन कर दूंगा. So we have already seen the relationships here in the previous question, in the previous that thing also. This graph we have already checked. You already checked this is a break-even point, profit and loss. So now let's see here. सेल्स आपका जो है इतना, ठीक है. अगर आपको टारगेट प्रॉफिट, अगर आप एक प्रॉफिट का टारगेट लगा रहे हो कि मुझे 60,000 का प्रॉफिट चाहिए, तो आपको इतना सेल्स करना पड़ेगा. एम आई राइट. नॉर्मल ब्रेक इवन सेल्स जो है वो इतना. वेरिएबल कॉस्ट निकाल दिए, कंट्रीब्यूशन आ गया, कंट्रीब्यूशन इज इक्वल टू फिक्स कॉस्ट इज ब्रेक इवन पॉइंट. लेकिन अगर कोई आपको पूछे कि मुझे अगर 60,000 का डिजायर्ड प्रॉफिट चाहिए तो मुझे कितना सेल्स करना पड़ेगा. 2,40,000, वेरिएबल कॉस्ट 80, निकाल दो, कंट्रीब्यूशन दिस मच एंड ब्रेक इवन पॉइंट, ये अपना सॉरी फिक्स कॉस्ट निकाल दो, आपको आ जाएगा पीबीटी. टैक्स निकाल दो, पीएटी. दैट्स इट. चलो ठीक है, अभी यहां तक छोड़ो. अभी हम लोग ये नहीं करेंगे, अभी और थोड़े क्वेश्चंस करेंगे, ठीक है. एंड विल सी व्हाट वी हैव कवर्ड टिल नाउ फ्रॉम आवर टेक्स्ट बुक. आप क्या क्या होमवर्क कर सकते हो आज. So contribution, so we will see yesterday what we have covered, today what we have covered. So we started from here. We did contribution margin. We did contribution margin. Okay. ये हम लोगों ने कर लिया, रेशियो भी कर लिया. ठीक है, ये घर पे कर लो. प्रॉफिट डिवाइड बाय सेल्स, प्रॉफिट वॉल्यूम रेशियो मैं एक्सप्लेन कर चुका हूँ. इनकम स्टेटमेंट वी हैव डन. सेल्स माइनस वेरिएबल कॉस्ट कंट्रीब्यूशन माइनस फिक्स कॉस्ट प्रॉफिट, ये भी खत्म कर लो. ग्राफ हो गया है. ब्रेक इवन पॉइंट इन वॉल्यूम हो गया है, यूनिट्स में भी हो गया है, रेवेन्यू में भी हो गया है, सेल्स में भी. ओके. सो ब्रेक इवन पॉइंट इन सेल्स का फॉर्मूला क्या है? फिक्स कॉस्ट बाय कंट्रीब्यूशन मार्जिन रेशियो, या लाइक आपका ब्रेक इवन वॉल्यूम, दैट इज ब्रेक इवन पॉइंट इन यूनिट्स इनटू सेलिंग प्राइस पर यूनिट. ठीक है, या ब्रेक इवन रेवेन्यू बाय ये करो तो भी आपको वॉल्यूम आ जाएगा. तो एक ही बात है. ये भी हम लोग फिनिश कर चुके हैं. क्वेश्चंस कर लेना घर पे. ये भी हो गया है. ये सारे क्वेश्चंस आपको दिए हुए हैं, ये ट्राई कर सकते हो. डिजायर्ड प्रॉफिट वो भी फिनिश हो गया है अभी. ठीक है, ये भी क्वेश्चन आपको करना है घर पे बॉस. हम लोगों ने अभी ये भी चेक किया है, टारगेट प्री टैक्स पर यूनिट कैसे करना है वो भी चेक कर लिए. टारगेट रेवेन्यू कैसे फाइंड करना है, लाइक एक सेकेंड अभी और क्वेश्चंस करेंगे, ये चेक करेंगे. ये पेज नंबर 12 का क्वेश्चन. ठीक है, ये भी हम लोगों ने अभी कर लिया. टैक्स, टारगेट प्री टैक्स प्रॉफिट, टारगेट वॉल्यूम यानी टारगेट कितना सेल्स जनरेट करना है जिससे हमको अपना टारगेट अचीव कर सके, यानी टारगेट प्रॉफिट्स. ठीक है, यानी वो कितना सेल्स हम करेंगे तो हमको डिजायर्ड प्रॉफिट आएगा, यानी टारगेट प्रॉफिट आएगा. वो भी हो गया है. और क्वेश्चंस करेंगे अभी, ये भी फिनिश हो गया है. विल से मोर एंड मोर क्वेश्चंस. समरी भी आ गया यहाँ तक, यानी हम लोगों ने एक पार्ट खत्म कर लिया है अभी तक. ठीक है, चलो अभी और क्वेश्चंस करेंगे एंड विल सी मोर एंड मोर ऑफ दिस. Okay, now let's go for some more questions related to these things. Okay. Already we have done all of this. Margin of safety is what we are supposed to do. We will do it. Okay. चलो ये करते हैं. And here operating income means what? Operating income means what here? Operating income is nothing but your profits. Okay. Let's do these problems. More of practice now. Chalo. So we will see how to find out the break-even point. Okay. So sales, at which operating income is 0. So that is like whatever the sales you do, if your operating income is 0, like your break-even point. Sales above break-even point is profit and below break-even point is loss. This is the formula we have already seen. Fixed cost, like if you want to find out fixed cost plus profit by contribution margin, F plus P by contribution margin is what per unit? Break-even point in units. Okay. And fixed cost plus operating income by contribution margin ratio is break-even point in sales. चलो एक क्वेश्चन करके बताओ. चलो आई थिंक वो कर ही दिया है. Contribution margin ratio is contribution margin by sales. So यहाँ पर they are found out 60%. So this is like contribution margin income statements, sales revenue, variable expenses, contribution margin, subtraction of this, fixed expense, operating income. And from that they are finding out fixed cost plus profit, that is operating income by contribution margin ratio is break-even point in sales, break-even sales. Okay. Now contribution margin is sales minus variable cost. Sales is this, variable cost is this per unit. If you want to find out the contribution margin ratio, that is nothing but the contribution margin per unit by selling price per unit. So we'll get the contribution margin like ratio. Okay, the formula I've already given you. Contribution margin per unit is nothing but sales minus variable cost. Sales minus variable cost is this, divided by sales. That is 1.70. You get the contribution margin ratio, PV ratio, the PV ratio formula. So this is break-even sales in units. Fixed cost plus profit by contribution margin per unit. You get the answer in break-even point, break-even sales in units. Okay, so you can check this. So fixed cost is 85,000. Operating income is 0. They did not give any profits here. So fixed cost plus profit by contribution margin, that is break even. Actually fixed cost plus profit is nothing but, why we take 0 as profit, because we are speaking about break even sales. So in case of break even sales, I did not give you this formula. I just told you to take fixed cost by contribution margin per unit. Why I did not take operating income? Because I know when I speak about break even point or break even sales, the operating income is always going to be 0. Okay, that's the reason I did not take the operating income in the formula, because it is 0 when I speak about break even point. And this is break even point in sales. Fixed cost plus operating income by contribution margin ratio. The contribution margin ratio we have already found out. Sales minus variable cost by sales. So this was that, and we got in terms of dollars. Break even point in sales. Break even sales in dollars. Sales, like how much sales you should do to get the desired profit. So for that they'll give you the desired profit, that is 25,000. So you need to sell 1,29,412 units to get a desired profit of 25,000. Okay, so the formula is given very clear. We have already done such questions, just revising. So CVP chart also we have done. Okay, we will see the data. As per the data we'll do. So how to make a CVP chart? Choose a sales volume, plot point for total sales revenue, draw sales revenue line from origin. This is sales revenue line from origin. $15,000 you want to get the revenue of. Okay, fixed cost is always fixed. Total cost is this, because this will not go like in this way, because total cost is a combination of fixed cost and variable cost, and the fixed element will be fixed. It will be tilting downwards, but the variable element will take this up, and this is the point at which you have break even, loss before this, and profit above that. Break even point, loss and profits. Okay, so we have taken this, and from graph also we can do some calculations. Okay, no problem. Leave this sensitivity analysis. We'll go for the next one. So more and more questions we have understood. Okay, so this is what everything we have done. So you need to practice today. Let's do some more questions. So all of this we have done. This yesterday we have done already. This we have already done yesterday. So they have made a graph relationship among revenue, cost, profit, and volume. So this we are seeing a relationship. So relationship among revenue. See, more the number of units, more the sales. The sales is increasing. The variable expense is increasing. The contribution margin is increasing. The fixed expense is always fixed. Okay. See here. So x-axis, dollars on y-axis. So these are number of units. These are number of dollars. This is the dollars. Fixed is always fixed. It is like 80,000 fixed. And this is like your like total expenses are increasing now because you will be adding up your fixed and variable in case of total expenses. See. So your variable expenses are 60. Your fixed expense are 80. So it is 1,40,000. Here it is 2 lakhs. Here it is 2,60,000. Okay, this 1,80,000 plus 80. So those are increasing. Of course, those are increasing. No doubt in that. And your revenue will also increase. So 1 point they will cut the revenue and total cost, break even point. Profit zone, loss zone. Break even point. I think we discussed everything regarding this. Contribution margin ratio is done. Okay. So this is what you can see. This is the 100%. Sales is always 100%. Am I right? From that, when you remove the variable expense, you get the contribution margin. तो अभी आप लोग जो पढ़ रहे थे फॉर्मूलास लगा के पढ़ रहे थे, जरूरत नहीं है यार फॉर्मूले का. ऐसा देखो सिंपल वे में समझ में आ जाता है कि सेल्स कभी भी क्या होता है बिजनेस के लिए 100% फिगर होता है. उसमें से अगर मैं वेरिएबल एक्सपेंस निकाल दूं तो मुझे आएगा कंट्रीब्यूशन मार्जिन. कॉन्सेप्ट हमारा स्ट्रांग होता है ऐसे करने से. वैसा भी कर सकते हो, ऐसे भी फाइंड कर सकते हो. चलो ये क्या बोलते हैं, कंट्रीब्यूशन मार्जिन रेशियो इफ रेसिंग बाइसाइकिल इंक्रीजेस सेल्स बाय 50,000. चलो ये क्या है, ये सब अपन लाइक अमेंडमेंट कर रहे हैं, यानी चेंजेस कर रहे हैं, एडजस्टमेंट्स कर रहे हैं. एडजस्टमेंट्स करके भी हम हमारा कंट्रीब्यूशन मार्जिन को चेक कर सकते हैं. और ये एडजस्टमेंट्स वाले क्वेश्चंस थोड़े आगे रहेंगे, तो मैं अभी कवर कर दे रहा हूं आपको. So contribution margin ratio. If a racing bicycle increases sales by 50,000, contribution margin will increase by 20,000. How? क्योंकि contribution margin ratio is 40%. So अगर आपका sales 50,000 से increase होगा, तो जितना आपका sales increase हुआ है, the amount by which your sales have increased, multiply the contribution margin ratio to that. You'll get the amount by which your contribution will increase. Let's see the proof. 2 lakhs was the sales for 400 units. Now, if I take 2,50,000, because see, I am increasing the sales by $50,000. So वो $50,000 को अगर मैं डिवाइड करूं सेलिंग प्राइस पर यूनिट से, तो 50,000 यूनिट्स से मेरा सेल्स 100 यूनिट से मेरा सेल्स बढ़ जाएगा. बिकॉज सी, अभी आपको क्वेश्चन करना है. गिव यू द क्वेश्चन. पर यूनिट आपका $500 है, ठीक है. तो आप अपना सेल्स को 50,000 यूनिट से बढ़ा रहे हो फॉर एग्जांपल. तो 50,000 यूनिट्स, एक सेकेंड, सो 2,50,000 डिवाइड बाय 500 करो, कितना आएगा? 500 यूनिट्स. आप $50,000 से अपने सेल्स को बढ़ा रहे हो. $50,000 से अपने सेल्स को बढ़ा रहे हो, यानी अच्छा ये उन्होंने कुछ करेक्शन पहले से ही कुछ 400 यूनिट्स लेके किया है. अब वो लोग 500 यूनिट्स पे आ रहे हैं, ठीक है. इंक्रीज करोगे सेल्स तो कंट्रीब्यूशन इंक्रीज होगा, डिक्रीज करोगे तो डिक्रीज होगा. देयर इज अ डायरेक्ट रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन कंट्रीब्यूशन एंड सेल्स. तो पहले 400 यूनिट्स था, 2 लाख डिवाइड बाय 400 कर लो, आपको मालूम चलेगा कि कितने डॉलर्स पर यूनिट है, मैं अभी बता देता हूं आपको। $500, वो 500 इंटू 500 यूनिट्स करो, $250,000। तो वैसे ही आपका ये जो लाइक वेरिएबल एक्सपेंस निकालने से वेरिएबल एक्सपेंस विल आल्सो इंक्रीज हियर। योर कंट्रीब्यूशन मार्जिन हैज इंक्रीज्ड बाय 20,000। Fixed expense is always fixed, and operating income here is more by 20,000. So as like the sales has increased by $50,000, results in a contribution increment in the contribution by $20,000. How? The increased sales amount into contribution margin. That's it. Okay. Do this question. चलो ये question करके बताओ मुझे. Is asking you to find out the contribution margin ratio. Tell me the answer. Find out. यहाँ जितने भी क्लास ले रहे हैं अभी, मेरे को पूरे आंसर्स देना आप, नहीं तो टाइम वेस्ट है क्लास लेना। आपका पार्टिसिपेशन नहीं है तो इट्स अ वेस्ट ऑफ टाइम। आंसर्स यहाँ पर आप लोग टाइप कर सकते हैं अगर किसी को बात नहीं करना है तो, ठीक है प्लीज। Got the answer?
Auntie.
Hello? Yeah, did you get the answer, all of you? You're doing it still. The formula is simple, boss. Contribution margin ratio is sales, contribution by sales into 100. Or contribution by sales. Contribution, how will you find sales minus variable cost? Selling price is this. Variable cost is this. 1.49 minus 0.36 crore divided by 1.49. Finish ना यार. मैं क्या बोला, आ गया ना आपको 0.758. Finished. उसके लिए इतना टाइम लग रहा क्या? क्या करेंगे आप, ऐसा करेंगे तो एग्जाम्स में? Contribution margin ratio. So contribution margin, the relationship between profit and contribution margin ratio can be expressed using the following equation. What is the relationship between profit and contribution margin ratio? अगर आप contribution margin ratio को sales से अब आप एक काम करो यार, ऐसा नहीं है, मतलब आप innovative बनो। आप ऐसे क्या करो, फॉर्मुलेस के हिसाब से क्वेश्चंस क्रिएट करके कॉम्बिनेशंस देखो। तो अभी सपोज कंट्रीब्यूशन मार्जिन रेशियो मेरा 10, सेल्स 1 लाख है, फिक्स एक्सपेंसेस 50, तो 10% इनटू एक सेकेंड, सेल्स मेरा 1 लाख है, कंट्रीब्यूशन मार्जिन रेशियो 30% है, सो 1 लाख का 30% 30,000। इससे मुझे क्या आ जाएगा, कंट्रीब्यूशन आ जाएगा। कंट्रीब्यूशन मार्जिन रेशियो इनटू सेल्स इज नथिंग बट कंट्रीब्यूशन अमाउंट। तो कंट्रीब्यूशन मार्जिन रेशियो 30%, सेल्स इज 1 लाख, 30%, 30% ऑफ 1 लाख इज 30,000 माइनस फिक्स कॉस्ट 10,000 है सपोज, आ गया प्रॉफिट 20,000। ऐसा देखो वो वही कर रहा, ये आप लोग बोलना बाबा। सो दिस इज द सेल्स 40% minus this is a fixed expense. He has taken the data from the old slides. Okay, chalo. ठीक है, आज के लिए इतना फिनिश करो, आज के लिए बेसिक्स पूरा चेक करो, एंड कल के क्लास में हम लोग मैक्सिमम ट्राई करेंगे कि वाइंड अप ही कर दें, ठीक है। आई विल बी कोरिलेटिंग दी टेक्स्ट बुक थिंग्स एंड आई विल बी फिनिशिंग ऑफ टुमारो। आज पूरा कम से कम बेसिक्स और टेक्स्ट बुक के क्वेश्चंस पूरे घर पे कर लो बैठ के। सी यू टुमारो, मोर 2 classes, done this chapter, finished, bye bye।